Halo 4 is my favourite Halo game, and one of my favourite games of all time. It may be a controversial opinion, but I think it's wildly underrated, and I feel like it gets dragged down by the hate for 343. In this video, I'll compare it to each of the other Halos, and explain why I love it so much. Firstly, I just want to clarify that the 343 in my name is from Guilty Spark, it's not from the company. I've had this username on various platforms since like 2010 or something like that. I just love that goofy little laser face. Now, I loved the difficulty of Halo 4. The new enemy types introduced a bit of a learning curve that I really enjoyed. My first playthrough I played on solo legendary, and there were moments where I genuinely struggled just to have enough ammo, which added a bit of desperation to the game. This challenge made some of the most frustrating encounters so rewarding to win. I also loved how the story in Halo 4 explores Chief's humanity. In Halo 1 to 3, there is a bit of this, particularly between Chief and Cortana, but mostly I feel like it was a story of a superhuman weapon saving the day. Now, many of you might hear this and think I'm talking about scenes like the one between Cortana and Chief, where Cortana touches Chief and they share a moment, kind of showing their love for each other. But for me, the standout scene of this game is right at the end when Laskey is talking to Chief and he says, "You say that as if soldiers and humanity are two different things. Soldiers aren't machines." And in this scene you see Chief kind of react to it as if it's genuinely confused him and has gone thinking. With Chief's upbringing and the way his life has been, particularly in the years before Halo 4, he really hasn't had much time to just be John, to just be a human being living a life. In his head, he's likely just been a weapon going from mission to mission. This is something I actually enjoyed in Halo Infinite too, and a little bit of it in Halo 5. I do like how 343 seems to be looking to explore Chief's emotions a little bit more, and this turns him into a much more complex character to me. Now, this might sound small, but I absolutely love the DMR in Halo Reach. It's my favourite gun in any video game ever. And I was so happy to see a DMR in Halo 4, but also having the option to have the battle rifle as well. The feeling of wielding the DMR again brought back so many great memories from my time in Reach, and it just added to my overall enjoyment of the game. Halo 4 is also the last time I genuinely enjoyed a multiplayer Halo experience. Since then, Halo 5 and Infinite just haven't captured the same feeling for me. Halo 4's multiplayer felt balanced, fun, and true to the series' roots, even if it wasn't as great as perhaps Halo Reach or Halo 2's was. Now, this is how I would personally rank each of the Halo games in a tier list. As you can see, I love them all. They're great games, and I've never disliked a single Halo game ever. But some aren't as great as others. So you'll see in B at the bottom, I have Halo 1. This might ruffle some feathers, but to be fair, I didn't play Halo 1 until after I'd already played 2 and 3 and Reach. So by the time I played 1, I'd already got used to having sprint on all the time in Reach. So this made the game feel slow to me, and the graphics were so dated by the time I played it. Now don't get me wrong, this is of course a me problem, but it still affects my experience and my opinion on the game. I still love the game, but it just wasn't exactly my favourite Halo experience. Even if I would love it if we could have some more Halo campaign missions just like the library. I also have Halo 5 down in B. This one probably isn't quite as controversial, as they changed so much with the movement and the ADS settings, things like that, that it just didn't really feel like a proper Halo game at first, especially in a multiplayer setting. I did turn off most of these extra settings for the campaign though, so I still did manage to get re-immersed in it and enjoy it. However, I just didn't like having the fire team either. I like to play Halo on solo legendary and make it feel difficult and really rewarding to finish. With the fire team, Halo 5 just felt very easy to me. The boss fights were also a little bit repetitive. There's only so many times I can shoot the Warden. I have Infinite down in B too. This is the most recent Halo, and I did enjoy the game. I love the addition of the gadgets like the grapple and the shields, etc. And these still felt very Halo to me and were implemented very well. However, I feel like the best bits of Infinite's story happened off screen. Like, why weren't we in control of Chief for the battle on the Infinity? Even if Chief lost, it's kind of criminal that we didn't get to at least experience this in a form better than the cutscene. I loved the open nature aspect of the game at first. It felt fresh, it was enjoyable, but upon further reflection, I think there were just so many moments where I perhaps approached the location from a less than ideal angle, and it took away from how epic it could have been in a more scripted linear campaign. There were multiple battles that could have been difficult and fun, but I happened to have a Banshee or a Scorpion or something, and it ended up taking seconds instead. Now, moving on to the A tier games, these are the Halos that I really loved and I've replayed many times. Halo ODST was amazing. It makes me really hope for more side games. I want more stories exploring all the stuff going on outside of Chief in the main events. ODST had such a great atmosphere and music. Mombasa Streets was such an interesting way to tell a story, and I loved how you felt almost weak compared to a Spartan and had to approach certain situations in ways other than just press W and shoot. The game was a bit too short for me though. The fact that there's an achievement in the Master Chief Collection for finishing ODST in under 3 hours on Legendary, and I got it by accident, kinda says a lot about the game's length. It's an amazing story, I just wish they gave us more. Halo 3 is also an A. Halo 3 was where I've had some of my best gaming memories ever. I would get home from school, I'd walk the dogs, have dinner, and then instantly be in a Halo custom games lobby with all my friends from school. Every night we'd have a full lobby and we'd play game types like Jenga, Fat Man, Monster Trucks, and I look back on these evenings so fondly, and I genuinely miss them so much sometimes. The campaign for Halo 3 was also great. It felt very high stakes, and so many of the campaign missions were absolute bangers. Now, Halo 2 is the final game I have in A. This probably would have been below 3 before the remaster, but the remaster added beautiful graphics to a package that already contained an incredible storyline, great gameplay, and amazing feeling weapons. I loved experiencing the story from multiple points of view via R being the Chief, and I loved fighting my way off of High Charity whilst the Civil War kicks off. Now you'll see Halo Reach is the only other game I have in S with Halo 4. This is one of my favourite games of all time. Halo Reach is the first game where I started to get a bit sweaty with competitive play. The DMR is my favourite gun in any game of all time. I loved using it to rack up multi-kills and SWAT. Forge World was also a huge addition to the game, and custom games expanded so much with Halo Reach's version of Forge. The story was incredible too. I loved how it didn't really feel like you were winning, and at the end you definitely didn't really feel like you'd won. It was so impactful experiencing this story and watching your fireteam members slowly fall. George's death and the slip space rupture detected was honestly one of the saddest experiences in gaming for me. I love that big dude. But honestly, for me and what I want from a Halo game, Halo 4 trumps them all. It has the DMR, my favourite gun. It has the emotive story with high stakes and difficulty. It has an emotional exploration of Chief and his humanity. It has a great multiplayer, great Forge, and great custom game options. It just beautifully combines everything I love about each Halo game into one. I haven't even spoken about it yet, but I love the Didact. I really want us to see more of him someday. I think he is a great enemy to be fighting in the game. He's a complex character himself. And going forward, I hope Halo 7 continues to explore the theme of Chief's humanity. But I also want the Flood back. It'd be captivating to see Chief start to falter, maybe make more emotionally driven decisions as he gets older, even if they turn out to be strategically questionable and have consequences. Imagine having flashbacks of Halsey discussing the efficiency of Spartans and Oni questioning their lack of humanity whilst Chief witnesses the consequences of his actions and perhaps struggles with the guilt of deaths caused by these choices. Now, we need the Flood in Halo. Halo without the Flood would be like another season of Game of Thrones without the White Walkers. Everything just feels so minor compared to the gigantic threat they pose. I would love to see Chief fighting the Banished on Zeta Halo with Sentinels acting as a third party, and then the Flood arrives The Flood's arrival could turn the battlefield into a complete panicked chaos, creating a scenario where Chief and the Banished must form a temporary alliance to survive. I would love to be able to see Chief and the Banished racing towards a Forerunner artifact, and then some sort of flood-seeded condor crashes into the middle of the battle, releasing the Flood. I'd love to see just panic ensue as the Flood overwhelms the battlefield. I want to see the Flood in a way that causes genuine panic and terror. Not in a creepy horror sense like we've seen before, but more of just a tidal wave of flood over the battlefield kind of way. I'm thinking more like the fall of Jerusalem in World War Z and the absolute terror you saw. Chief and the Banished retreat, and in a desperate moment, Chief is saved by a banished brute. This could set the stage for an uneasy alliance, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, much like the ones we kind of saw between the humans and the elites in Halo 3. I would love to see a mission where you're actually retreating and running away from the Flood. This could be so interesting to me. The story could even show doubt from the UNSC and Chief's constitution as he starts to make poor strategic decisions because of his confused internal emotions and honestly potential PTSD from the last few years of the war he has suffered through, as well as the loss of Cortana. Meanwhile, in parallel, the Banished could be making the perfect strategic choices and really highlighting Chief's bad moves here. This could lead to the UNSC command starting to side a bit more of the Banished and kind of shrugging Chief aside as he makes more and more mistakes. This would lead to a further internal conflict for Chief and Weapon trying to console him, but it doesn't matter because she's not actually Cortana. I feel like their story of Halo is kind of in a hard place at the moment. They need to follow a form of power creep with each new enemy in the series, just so that the game feels more and more epic and high stakes than the last. And because of this, I'd honestly rather see the main story come to an end within the next few games, just to stop them properly ruining Chief in his story by dragging it out too far. I honestly think the perfect ending for Chief would be for Chief to make some form of ultimate sacrifice to finish the Flood, or maybe the Endless, or whichever enemy it is that we happen to be fighting at the time. Even if some sort of George ending with another enemy faction arriving as Chief dies would be kinda cool. Although you can't drag this out forever, and it would be a huge shame to see his sacrifice be in vain, after all these years of Chief's story. Now, even if they wanted to continue with the Endless, this could still be an enemy that requires Chief's sacrifice to finish off. I don't really have too much thoughts on them though, as honestly we don't really know much about them at all. Like, they can survive the Halo's firings and perhaps they can time travel. That's really it as far as I'm aware anyway. Now this could lead to a new arc in the Halo series with a unified front against the Endless between the Banished and the UNSC with their newfound almost alliance. We could play as our custom characters. Maybe we play as Spartans, elites, or even brutes now, exploring new game dynamics and uneasy alliances. Honestly, if I was the one making decisions, I would try to wrap up the main story with Chief in a satisfying way before it's ruined. I would then start to remake each Halo game, expanding on them with modern lore and game mechanics. If you were to release each of these simultaneously on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, it'd be a perfect way to feed nostalgia, whilst also guiding a new audience through Chief's story. At the same time, I would release side story games in between each main story game. Halo games need to come out so much more regularly than they do now to maintain hype and excitement, but if you're constantly giving these new players a main story game and then some form of side story, you would make them fall in love not just with Chief, but with Halo. And this in turn, in my opinion, would help to revitalize the Halo franchise and get people excited again, which unfortunately is something we've had in dwindling supply these last few years. Now, I love Halo. It's my favourite IP on the planet. I just really want to see content that deserves to be called Halo, and I want to see more people understand why I have so much love for it. Now, I've already been rambling a little bit too long, so in conclusion, whilst Halo 2 and 3 did explore Chief a little bit, Halo 4 delves into it in so much more depth, and I love that. Halo 3 and Reach might have been some of the best multiplayer experiences I've had, but Halo 4 offers a great multiplayer experience too. Halo Infinite and ODST had their emotional moments, but 4's were just more impactful to me. Halo 4 combined everything I love about a Halo game into one, and I hate how criminally underrated this game is. Now, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do just leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your favourite Halo game is and why. I'm sure we don't all agree on everything here. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.